Hey guys, it's your makeup artist friend Kat here. Today we're going to do a very creepy Frankenstein-like makeup of my own twist on the bride of Frankenstein. Today we're going to call her Frankenstella. If you haven't heard of Frankenstein, where have you been? He is a creation of a scientist and he made the Frankenstein and a bride of Frankenstein. So today we're doing our own version of the bride of Frankenstein. In the original Frankenstein movie, the bride of Frankenstein was very beautiful and put together, but in reality, I feel like that she should have been just as gruesome as the original Frankenstein. So I decided to stitch together her face, her mouth melting, what if something went wrong during the procedure, and she's gonna have a necklace of poison. So let's get started and turn into Frankenstella today and see how this goes. First of all, we're gonna put a wig cap on because, of course, Frankenstella, the bride of Frankenstein, has her very own huge head of hair that she's very well known for. So we're gonna put on a wig later. Then it's time to flatten down those eyebrows because she has some very thin painted on eyebrows that are totally different than mine, so why not just create them from scratch? I am flattening them down with glue stick and powder. You can do as many layers as you want. I do about 4 for my brow hairs to make sure it's completely flat so that we can paint on top of them. Once that is completely dry and we blocked off our eyebrows, it is time to start the patchwork of our stitched skin. I got a mixture of red and brown aqua paint. I use Wolf Brothers Hydro Colors. And I definitely need to give a shout out to Kim Whitty from Whitty Artistry here on YouTube. She made an amazing video on how to do stitched together makeup like this, so I will definitely link her video down below. It is very informative. It's probably one of the most well thought out stitched makeups, and it very much inspired me to do this makeup. And once we have that red mark down, I'm gonna get some black aqua paint with a very thin brush to do the edges of our wounds or the cuts of our skin being stitched together. All the little pieces. This is gonna make the cuts of the skin when they're being stitched together to look like deeper, real cuts, more realistic. You really need patience while you're doing this whole entire stitched makeup. Then I got some light concealer that's a shade or 2 lighter than my actual skin. I'm using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. You can use any lighter cream paint, foundation, or concealer, or any light flesh tone skin product of cream. I lay that on the edge near the bloody gap of our cut skin and then blend it out. It's like a highlight mark into our skin tone. As you can see, I haven't done foundation yet because once those highlight marks are down, I don't want to skip this step and I almost forgot it, but I got my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. It's my absolute favorite makeup primer and I'm blending that into the pieces of my face. I know that sounds creepy, but I'm blending that as the base before I put on the rest of our foundation. Don't forget your neck and chest, the other pieces of your skin. I am using the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Conceal Foundation only because it has this doe foot applicator that is perfect for doing these different patchworks across your face. And my favorite sponge, especially for this type of makeup, to get in those nooks and crevices so that we don't paint this on top of the red lines we did, is the Sigma 3D HD sponge. It's one of my absolute favorite beauty sponges on the market, and it's perfect for this. Don't forget, again, your neck and chest. And I got my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, putting that on my bottom eyelid and on the top of them and on my brows where we flattened it. And I put some on my nose, blending that out with that beauty sponge. And then I switched over to a fluffy brush to blend out the concealer around my eyes, only because I feel like it blends it better, especially around those eyebrows. It makes it more thick, opaque, and even. Then we're gonna put another layer of concealer on our eyebrows. Then with the giant powder puff and translucent setting powder, I'm just putting that on top of those eyebrows to set them, and on the rest of my face to set all my foundation and concealer to have an even base. Now it's time to get our Ben Nye Death Wheel palette. Any cream color that's a lighter shade than your skin that has a gray cool tone to it, we're putting that over different patches of our skin so that some of the skin is more dead than other parts of our skin, like some is more newer flesh and some is more older flesh of the scientist putting together our face. Putting that gray around our face, we can use a brush or our fingertips And then we haven't stopped there. I got a black stipple sponge with the burgundy color mixed with a little bit of the yellow color from our Midnight Death Wheel to make bruises on certain parts of our face. Again, I really want different patches of this face to be in different textures and different ages of like when the person has deceased to make their skin into this face of this human. I know that's really creepy, but it is the season of Halloween. I'm doing a bruise on my neck as well. Then I got my Lunatic Cosmetics Labs powders. I'm using a contour shades in here. I use a bit of the cool and warm tone mixed together with a small, tiny pencil brush to do shadows around those highlights, right under the highlights, but not on top of the red bloody cuts. This is gonna give a shadow that it's being pinched. The skin is being pinched before it's being stitched together. This pinching shadow is gonna give it such a more realistic look. Already you're gonna see the difference. That's not gonna look like just painted on lines. It's gonna look like pinched up skin that will be pinched together later with fake stitches. You can lay the color down with the pencil brush and then get a clean brush that's fluffy to blend out that contour of the pinched skin. Then we got the mixture of that red and brown aqua paint again, but with a very thin, tiny brush to do the holes that the stitches are gonna go in. I know this is very tedious. This makeup took me 3 hours, especially doing all these little dots, and we're gonna do lines. It almost reminds me of studs of a jacket, but we're studying our skin. I know that's creepy. Once all those little red dots are on all the outer outlines of our cuts, I'm gonna get some brown aqua paint, watered down very lightly with a very tiny brush to do a little mark of a pull. Again, look at Witty Artistry's video on how to do this because she explains it so much better than I do. To be honest with you, this is gonna give a shadow of the stitch pulling at the hole that was stitched into the skin. Again, this is very tedious, but it's so worth it in the end. I got some black aqua paint with a very thin brush to do little dots of actual holes where the stitch is gonna be. I know we haven't got to the stitch yet, but trust me, all this work in detail is definitely worth it in the end. Once you have all those holes of the black dots in, you could do all the fine details. If you did a little mistake, you could fix it. Before getting that black aqua paint again with the very thin brush, you can use the same brush to do the stitch marks finally. I did some crisscross marks where multiple layers of the flesh and the cuts meet together. Say there's 3 pieces of flesh meeting together to be stitched together. You could do some crisscross marks to make it look really realistic, like if you're really sewing something. I did some U shapes. You don't want to just do straight lines. You want it to look more realistic and do a little U shape to look like the stitches are tugging when they're stitching together these skin pieces to make Frankenstella, the Bride of Frankenstein. As you see here, they're not like horseshoes, but they're little tiny, like little baby rainbow shapes of stitches. Now, we're not done here. I'm gonna get some gray aqua paint, or you could get some gray cream paint and put a little highlight mark on top of the stitch. I know this is so extra, but trust me, it looks so much better up close in person. The stitches, especially if you're doing this for Halloween, I know it's a lot of work. You don't have to do this many lines across your face of stitches as I did. I just went over the top. And I use definitely a hairdryer to dry this. It really does help with the time and process of it. Going back into my Lunatic Cosmetics Labs powders to get the contour, to definitely do a cool tone contour of cheekbones and on my jawline and on my forehead, where I would usually do my contour if I was doing beauty makeup, but we're gonna be a little bit more heavy-handed with deeper contours, especially around the sockets of our eyes. I am thinking of a Tim Burton type makeup look. So I did some heavy contour in the sockets of my eyes. Then I got one of my absolute favorite eyeshadow palettes lately. This is the Sigma Volume 2 Warm Neutrals eyeshadow palette. And I'm just using my fingers to put that on the center of my eyes and on the bottom as well. Then I got some matte black eyeshadow to the outer corner and inner corner, almost like a halo eye of beauty makeup on Frankenstella today. Again, thinking Tim Burton vibes. You want the sockets to be very pronounced in the eye. Then I got some dark red lipstick and put that a little bit over the eye as well to give it more drama. Then did my waterline with some black eyeliner. Speaking of black eyeliner, I got a black eyeliner pin and did the Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstella's eyebrows The Bride of Frankenstein is known to have these eyebrows that are very straight across, but they have points at the end, so I really wanted to recreate that. This takes some patience. You can really mess these up if you're not careful. Eyebrows are so hard to paint on. They could be very uneven if you don't watch out. Then I put some purple aqua paint, or you can do purple eyeshadow on top of the eye before curling our eyelashes to get them prepped for some fake ones. Putting some mascara on the top and bottom lashes, then getting these giant fake eyelashes from Violet Voss. I wanted to bring on the drama, pasting those onto our eyelids. And we're not gonna stop there. I'm getting some red aqua paint and putting it on my mouth in these weird shapes that look like a melting jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. I'm closing my lips to make it sealed, and these are gonna be cuts of the mouth. Not really a human mouth, but melting. Like it was sealed, then trying to melt open to talk. Putting some brown aqua paint around those red marks to do like moments of the skin stretching for her to try to speak. Getting some concealer on top of the lips in the areas where the tissue is connecting still between the red marks. Getting more brown aqua paint to do areas of stretching of the skin. Again, we want this to look like her mouth was fused together but also melting at the same time. Then I got some black aqua paint to really deepen in and make this super detailed on the areas of the holes in her mouth of the mouth melting. You could definitely close your lips while you're doing this, or leave your lips open if you don't have huge, gigantic lips, or whichever you want to do, honestly. You don't even have to do this lip effect. You could just do black lipstick and not go this extra, but girl, I'm being extra. Speaking of extra, I'm making this little necklace vial of potion. I got this bright green aqua paint from Graftobian. They have these beautiful colors that are like neon colors. This is their neon green color. Making sure it's completely dry before getting some black aqua paint with a thin brush to do the detail to make and paint the vial of this bottle on our neck as a necklace. With a cork, I got some brown aqua paint to paint on a cork to seal that bottle of poison or potion. Poison. I feel like this is the poison that keeps her alive. I want to make it look like a little bit of a poison bottle and do a black skull and crossbones, and then paint on just a simple top of this necklace of poison, doing some shadow detail around it. Now it is time for the wig. Of course, I had to get the Bride of Frankenstein wig from a Halloween store to turn into Frankenstella today. And we're not gonna stop there. I got some white out contact lenses to make sure her eyes look dead and hollow. And with that, we are completely done with our Frankenstella makeup transformation, our own twist on the Bride of Frankenstein. I know this is very scary and creepy, a little bit glamorous, but I hope this inspired you to be creative this Halloween. You don't have to spend hours like this at a time as I do. You could just do one cut across your face. You don't have to do the melted mouth, honestly. But this was just so much fun to do. I love being creative around Halloween. I hope you guys do too. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do this makeup look or any makeup look from my YouTube channel, please post it on Instagram and tag me #katsketch. I would love to see it. Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein is one of my favorite classic Hollywood monsters. So I'm so happy I got to do a twist on it before Halloween. And now it's time for me to turn back into myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos. There is going to be more videos definitely in the future. I post every Mondays and Fridays now, so there's that to look forward to. All the products I use in this video will be, of course, listed down below in the description box as always. Again, definitely check out Kim Witty Artistry here on YouTube if you want to see a detailed video of these stitches or just more makeup transformations that are pretty awesome. Stay safe this Halloween. I hope you guys have fun, and I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!